I thought pharmacies basically were the same everywhere. You walk in, you pick up your medicine, you pay, then you leave. Simple. Then I moved to Mexico. And almost immediately, something didn't make sense. There's a doctor's office right next to a pharmacy, y'all. Wait, why would a pharmacy need a doctor? At first, I assumed they weren't real doctors. Maybe they just gave basic advice. Maybe they were there to sell medicine, but I was wrong. And the deeper I looked, the stranger this thing became, because those doctors are genuinely licensed physicians. That only created a bigger question. If those are real doctors, why are they working next to pharmacies? So I started digging, and what I discovered completely changed how I think about healthcare. At first, what I learned was that these little clinics are not unusual. They are everywhere. In fact, more than half of Mexico's pharmacies have adjacent doctor's offices. Wait, more than half? This isn't some unique business idea. It's part of everyday life in Mexico. And then I discovered something else. A visit often costs about the same as lunch. Think about that. In America, seeing a doctor often means making an appointment, driving across town, waiting, filling out paperwork, and sometimes waiting days or even weeks. In Mexico, many people can walk into those neighborhood clinics, see a doctor, and get treated for a minor illness and then continue on with their day. That sounded almost too simple. So I kept on looking because there had to be more to this story. Then I ran into one of the biggest myths Americans believe, and I've always heard this. You can buy anything in Mexico, but that just isn't true. Antibiotic steroids still require prescriptions in some places, and most opioids as well require special prescriptions. And that surprised me because that's not an American story that you hear very often. So the rules are stricter than most people think. Why build thousands of tiny clinics next to pharmacies? Well, that's when everything started to make a little bit of sense. The pharmacy wasn't there replacing healthcare, it was there helping people access it. Many of these clinics focus on everyday problems: the flu, allergies, sore throat, infections, minor stomach issues. If something is more serious, the patients genuinely are referred to the hospitals or a specialist. And suddenly, the mystery wasn't about pharmacies anymore. It was about access. And then I discovered something that every Mexican already knows, but most Americans, I guarantee, haven't heard of. Dr. Simi. At first, I thought he was just a funny little mascot jumping around. This guy's dancing around outside of the pharmacy. He's got this big old mustache, oversized glasses, and this big white lab coat. But Dr. Simi is much bigger than that.
Enemy spotted.
He's become one of the most recognizable characters in all of Mexico. People collect Dr. Simi stuffed animals. You'll find them in homes, cars, offices. Fans even throw Dr. Simi dolls onto concert stages for the famous artist. Something that started as a pharmacy mascot became part of the Mexican pop culture. And here's the part that surprised me. Dr. Simi wasn't created just to sell medicine. He became the face of affordable healthcare, affordable generic medications, affordable doctor visits, affordable access. In a strange way, that dancing mascot represents exactly what the entire healthcare model is trying to do. It's trying to make healthcare feel close, accessible, part of the neighborhood, not something that you only think about when you're seriously sick. So why doesn't America do something similar? Well, at first I thought the answer had something to do with medicine, but once again, I was wrong. The deeper that I looked, the more I realized this wasn't really about pharmacies. It was about two countries building healthcare completely different ways. America built a system centered around insurance, specialists, a large medical network. Mexico built another path: neighborhood pharmacies, generic medicine, quick access to primary care. America built a system centered around insurance, specialists, and large medical networks. Mexico, on the other hand, built a path that leads to neighborhood pharmacies, generic medicine, quick access to primary care. Neither system is perfect. Mexico's pharmacy clinics have critics, and some experts worry about unnecessary prescription. Others point to possible conflicts with interest when doctors work directly next to the pharmacies. That's why regulations have become stricter over the years. But millions of people still use these clinics every year because they are fast, affordable, and they're close to home. That's another thing that I've noticed since moving to Mexico, again and again. Mexico often chooses accessibility. America often chooses structure. Different priorities, different trade-offs. When I first walked into the Mexican pharmacy, I had thought that I was looking at a place to buy medicine. I wasn't. I was looking at a completely different philosophy of healthcare, and that surprised me more than anything else. Not a doctor, not the low prices, not even Dr. Simi. I was realizing that I had assumed every country solved healthcare the same way, and they don't. So I'm gonna ask you guys, which system is better? I honestly don't think it's that simple. I think the question is, which system gives ordinary people better access to everyday healthcare? I'd love to hear what you think. Would you rather have faster access in the neighborhood, or would you rather prefer an American system that's more organized? Let me know in the comments. I read as many of them as I can and I reply. And if you enjoy documentaries that challenge what Americans think they know about Mexico, well then make sure you subscribe, because we've got lots coming. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Go check out one of those other videos.